This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
The former president's lawyer, a new lawyer, John Lauro, is defending the president's actions, obviously. He says a technical violation of the Constitution is not a violation of criminal law. Does that make sense to you?
No. And he admits that the president violated his oath. Think about that. The president of the United States promises to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. His own lawyer has admitted he violated the Constitution.
I want to play something he told Laura Ingraham on Fox last week.
What President Trump said is, let's go with option D. Let's just halt. Let's just pause the voting and allow the state legislatures to take one last look and make a determination as to whether or not the elections were handled fairly. That's constitutional law. That's not an issue of criminal activity.
Did he admit the president committed a crime? I mean, because the president is charged with corrupt obstruction of an official proceeding.
Right. He did. And let me say what else he did. You know, he's opposite of what the evidence is. Mike Pence has been very clear about this. He said the president didn't ask him to halt or pause. He said that he was asked by the president to reverse it.
Throw him away.
To reverse the result.
Right.
And that's what Mike Pence is going to testify to. I suspect that's what he's already testified to in the grand jury. We don't know for sure because those matters are secret.
Right.
But I suspect he hasn't said anything different to the grand
Do you
jury.
think Mark Meadows is going to testify?
Oh, I've said all along, I think Mark Meadows is already a cooperating witness. He has all the looks of a cooperating witness, running into coffee shops away from the press.
And he's disappeared in the indictment. I mean, he's referenced once or twice.
Right.
But
So when you didn't see Mark Meadows as an unindicted co-conspirator, and you see absolutely no mention of him at all,
how devastating do you think his testimony could be?
it could be the worst testimony for him outside of the family members. Because Mark Meadows was with him constantly during that period of time.
And involved in all of it, in Georgia, in the electors.
He was a very involved chief of staff in my experience. He made sure he was in every meeting and every conversation. So, and we remember there are hundreds of text messages that he turned over to the special counsel that he kept.
Right. Because Mark Meadows started cooperating and then he withdrew his cooperation because he was intimidated or threatened or extorted by Donald Trump, who apparently would like the information that Mark Meadows turned over in the secret grand jury proceedings. And we know Mark Meadows had to turn over secret grand jury information because he's not an unindicted co-conspirator. In fact, you know what's very important about this indictment? It's not just the 6 names that we all, went to great lengths to, identify for ourselves and for, if you have an audience or if you're, a person on social media and you're, trying to solve the riddle of the mystery of the indictment and who these unindicted co-conspirators are. You spent a little time, knowing, okay, 1 is Giuliani and 2 is Eastman and 3 is Clark and 4 is, Cheeseborough and 5 is, but what's more important is who's not an unindicted co-conspirator. Mark Meadows is not.
Meadows is a rat. This guy's a rat.
Yeah, well, that means Ivanka's a rat too. That means that means Jared Kushner's a rat too.
How fun was that just to hear him say that? Could be the most damning witness outside the family.
The family.
The family.
And Jared was like sitting on Donald Trump's lap through the entire Donald Trump administration. Jared used that administration to inure a $2 billion payday to himself by taking our secrets and selling them to the guy who wants to be the next king of Saudi Arabia. I mean, walked away with $2 billion, and Donald Trump got himself a golf tournament, right, to come through his golf clubs. But Jared's not mentioned. And he testified before the grand jury. Ivanka's not an unindicted co-conspirator, and she testified. We know she did. Also, what's her name? Cassidy Hutchinson, right? Her testimony had to be devastating because we saw what she testified to in front of the January 6th committee. So all these people that are not named, those are the people that the court is also trying to protect, right? To make sure they make it to trial alive. So that's all real interesting, too. And then One last thing that Christy pointed out that I just loved. You want to hear something that's going to make you feel all fuzzy and warm inside? It's going to make you feel really, really good? Check out this little clip, okay?
By the way, when you're a criminal defendant out on bail, and let's focus on that. He is now out on bail in 3 different jurisdictions, New York, Florida, and Washington, D.C. We have a front runner in this race who's out on bail in 3 jurisdictions.
That's
pretty
delicious.
incredible.
And what happens, though, when you're let out is that there are restrictions placed on you for you to stay out. And one of the restrictions that was placed on him was no contact or intimidation of potential witnesses.
He's saying, if you go after me, I'm coming after you. His lawyers are now saying that post was that was generalized political speech, not directed at anyone.
Well, of course, that's what they're going to say, because what they really feel like saying is, oh, my God, I can't believe he did that again.
I love that guy. I could listen to that clip and it could just, soothe me into a deep, deep, lovely, melatonin-induced kind of a sleep. Like a really good one, like when you take 10 milligrams of the time-release melatonin. Oh, Natrol, the best. And I don't get any money from them for doing that. But I'm just saying, just listening to that clip, that it has the same warm, delicious effect on me when I hear him say that. Now, the Trump spoke, John Laura said, that's just political speech to threaten judges. If you come after me, I will come after you. And he's saying, well, that's just the definition of political free speech, which is just, it's true, but it's a commentary on just how disgusting our politicians and their speech has become, where they get to it's political free speech, the likes of what you would have heard at a Nuremberg rally, okay? It's right up there. It's just nothing but threats, is all it is. But that's how low we've gotten. It's like we have devolved instead of evolved into a more modern, efficient, freer, better, easier, breezier country. We have become this disgusting, political speech under Trump is like it's like attending a freaking Nuremberg rally. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. It's like being at one of Mussolini's events. It's just so bad, and it's so ugly, and it's made to induce fear and deep, negative emotions in people is what it's designed to do, and it does, because we're human. We're human. And this is all for the MAGA base, okay? That's all this hatred is, all to feed them, to inflame them, and to make them willing to hurt the witnesses. See what I mean? But I love the way Christy said, let's just remember he's out on bail. He's out on bail in 3 different jurisdictions. And when you're out on bail, restrictions are placed upon ye. And if you don't adhere to them, you lose the ability to move freely about the country.
That you think that's what they said
yes,
privately to each
privately.
other?
Their lawyers are want to jump out the window having to defend some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the bottom line on it, is that let's put aside if it's legal or illegal for a second.
Okay.
Is this the kind of conduct that the Republican Party or the American people want from someone who's going to be president? To send out tweets or posts, whatever they are, that he sends on True Social, saying this kind of stuff, threatening people, trying to intimidate Mike Pence, trying to intimidate the judge. Mike Pence, as we know, he just falls in the line of Rex Tillerson and Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr and all these folks who were the best people ever when he hired them.
Right.
And then as soon as they say something that
and extraordinarily loyal also to him.
Yes. And as soon as they disagree with him, then they become the worst people on earth. The things he wrote about Mike Pence. Look, I'm running against Mike. I want to make sure I beat him and I become the Republican nominee. But he doesn't deserve that.
No, nobody does. Nobody deserves to be targeted for death or hanging or oh, Nancy, or to have your husband attacked in the middle of the night at 80 years old. Nobody deserves that kind of retribution because of political speechifying. No, and this is not what America needs. Or, listen, there's a tiny little sliver. But that's the sad truth, that it only takes one It only takes one idiot, one lone wolf, one guy from North Carolina to shoot up the ping pong parlor. It only takes one lunatic, fringy guy to go into the clock tower. It only takes one idiot to go, knock on Nancy Pelosi's door at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then the freaking right-wing media defends the attacker. Oh, he was, he was the lover of Nancy Pelosi's husband. I mean, this is so sick and so bad and so twisted. And it's making us less free and less modern and less good and less, less of a shining city on the hill. To use another political cliche. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.